Hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Today I'm going to show you some of the basics that you need to know to be able to get yourself started into this game. So this is what you're going to see when you start a new career mode. You're going to have this runway here, a launch pad over here, and lots of buildings in the middle. You're also going to see this bar up at the top, and this shows you the three resources that you have in a career mode. You have funds, which you need to use to be able to buy the parts for your rockets or planes or whatever. You have reputation, you don't really need to worry about that at the moment, and you have science, which is what lets you unlock the next levels in the tech tree and get better parts. Now, for these buildings, this one here is the research and development building. If you click on this, then you'll see the tech tree. And once you have enough science, you'll unlock this stuff, and then you can work your way up, all the way up to these parts at the end. And here we have this place, which is where the reputation is useful because you get better deals. So you can, say, trade in a bit of your money for some extra science or vice versa. Here we have the astronaut complex, which is where you can hire new Kerbals, which, as you can see, costs money, and we don't have any money. Here is the spaceplane hangar, which is where you build planes. Here is the tracking station, which will show you the solar system and any ships that you might have out there. And probably most important, here is the vehicle assembly building right in the middle, which is where you will build rockets. So what you want to do is just click on that, and then you can start building your first rocket. Now, before you start doing that, actually, there is a bit of free science that you can get. And you get science by doing research in various different environments. So if I click on this command pod here, which basically starts off me building my rocket, then actually I don't add anything else to it, I just launch it straight away. This costs basically nothing because it's just one part. Then here on the launch pad we have single command pod with one little guy in it. Now if you right click on your command pod, you can see it says crew report down here, and if you click on that, you can see that it's giving you plus 1.5 science. So if you keep that, and now if you click on this little EVA button here, then he jumps out, and if you let go, then you can do an EVA report, which will get you a bit more science. So now if you just get back into the rocket, get back into the rocket by pressing B for board, and then you go up to this altimeter up at the top and hit recover vessel. You can see we got 3 science. Excellent. And we didn't spend any money. And we didn't lose any reputation. Now for these first levels, you need 5 science. So let's build a rocket and get some more science. Now let's explain some of the things that you'll be seeing here. On the left here, you have all the different categories for the parts. You have the command pods, which is where the spaceship is controlled for and where you should always start building your spaceship. You have fuel tanks, which we don't have any of yet because we haven't researched them. You have engines, which we have 1. This is a solid fuel booster, which means it doesn't take any other fuel tanks. You just stick one on and there you go, you're done. We have control, nothing in there yet. Structural, which we have a girder in, which we could use if we wanted to, I don't know, whatever, make some landing legs or something. You have aerodynamic, which gives you these to start off with. You have utility, which gives you a parachute, very important. Stick that on top of the rocket. And you have science, which we have these guys, which is basically another way of getting science other than the crew report and the EVA reports. So it means you can get more science out of each environment that you go to. Now down here in the bottom we have a few useful things. Angle snap, which you can click on to turn on and off. And you can see now it's jerking to angles. It's snapping to angles. So it's easy to get them right on the side of your rocket. And here we have symmetry mode. So if I click that once, we're now in double symmetry mode, which if I put this on, then it puts one on the other side. If I click it again and take that guy off, then we have 3. If you cycle all the way through them, then you can get back to the beginning, or you can right click to go to the previous one. Now I think 2 is probably going to be enough, so we'll just stick 2 of these guys on. And then we need that engine here. And we want to put some fins on to make sure things are stable. And let's put 3 of those on with the symmetry mode. And if you put your fins at the back, then your rocket will be much more stable. So let's launch this and see if we can get any science. Now, I should have done this in the VOB, but if you look over to the left, you can see the different stages of your rocket. And if you click the little plus, you can add another one. Now, what would happen at the moment is when I press space, which is the key that advances the stage, it would switch on this engine and it would deploy our parachute. Obviously, we don't want to do that. So you're going to add another stage and move the solid fuel booster down into the first stage. So now when I hit space, it's going to switch this one on, and then once that's run out, I can hit space again and it will deploy the parachute. So let's just explain a few of the things that you're seeing up here at the moment. Up here we have the altimeter, which shows how high you are above sea level. The atmosphere measurer, which shows you how high in the atmosphere you are. Once you get all the way up to the top, you are in space. Down here we have the nav ball, which on the right shows you the G-force, and on the left shows you the throttle, which you can change with shift to go up and control to go down. Now, the nav ball is a representation of which way your craft is pointing. So when the nav ball is all blue, you're pointing straight up, and when it's all orange, you're pointing straight down. And if you're on the join between blue and orange, then you're pointing along the horizon. Okay, so the throttle doesn't matter with an SRB because these are on a set throttle. You just set them off; they can't be stopped. That's it. But one thing that we can do is we can press T, which turns this on. This is it helps with the stability of the rocket. It makes it a lot easier to control. So we hit T, throttle doesn't matter, and now we hit space, which switches on this solid fuel booster, and up we go. Now we can do some science. Flying on Kerbin, 7 science, excellent. Crew report. Flying over Kerbin shores, 3.5 science. We don't want to do that because we've already got a science from flying at Kerbin with this particular experiment, so we're going to reset that. And you do not want to do an EVA report here because he would probably, well, die. And now up here you can see this thing, which basically lets you skip time. So if you can control it either by clicking or by using the comma and full stop keys, like that. So you can see now we're in 3 times regular speed. So we're coming back down now, so I'm going to hit space again, which deploys the parachute. And we're still pointing down. That's our fins doing their work there. But there we go. The parachute's deployed, so we're pointing the right way. Now, just to speed things up a little, I'm going to go into 2 times. Or 3 times. There we go. So we don't have to wait so long when we're waiting for it to come back down. And you can see a shadow there, which is a good indication of how close you are to the ground. And we blew up our fins, but that doesn't really matter. They're very cheap. So now I'm going to do some mystery U on the ground. Another 3 science. Excellent. Now let's recover the vessel. "18 science. Excellent. That's very good for a first mission. So we're up to 22 science, and we gained some reputation because we managed to launch a pilot and get him back safely. didn't mean to do that. Right, so now let's go into the research and development. Here you can see if we research this, then we'll get a liquid fuel engine, a bigger solid fuel booster, and a liquid fuel tank. If we upgraded this, we would get a different cockpit, the Science Junior, which is like the Mystery Goo. It's another way to get science from an environment. That's very good. And we'd also get this, which is an antenna, which allows you to transmit science instead of recovering it, but you don't get as much. We'd also get a stack decoupler, so this is very useful. It means that you can have a rocket with multiple stages. And we have 22 science, so we're going to get both of these. There we go. And now we've got 3 options, which we're not going to be able to afford, but just have a look. We'd get a more advanced liquid fuel engine, a even larger solid fuel booster, a larger liquid fuel tank. In this one, we would get aerodynamic nose cones, a larger winglet instead of just that standard one. We'd also get a radial decoupler, which allows you to put more rockets on the side of your rocket to make it even bigger. And in the last one, we would get a heat shield, very useful once we're getting out into space. A radiator panel, which can be useful, but they're not essential. We would also get a landing leg, radial parachutes, which can be very useful if you've got a large ship that you want to be able to land, so you don't just want to use that one parachute on top of the command pod. And a service bay. Never really found much use for these, although they can be useful for putting lots of small bits of research and science getting things inside so that they don't get destroyed in re-entry. So that is basically it for the first video. We've gone over some of the basics. We have launched our first rocket, and in the next video we'll probably get into space. So I'll see you then.